Hello, everyone. Good evening or hello, depending where you are. Just a quick check. Can you hear me? Yes, all right, good. It's wonderful to see familiar faces and also new faces. And faces also I recognize from the first and second and third webinar. So great. My name is Eleni, and today I will be hosting this webinar. But I'm not alone here. I'm together with two of my colleagues, Bogdan and Ognian, and I will just to invite them to welcome you as well here.
Hello and greetings from my side. Greetings from Romania. I'm Bogdan Romanica. I'm also one of the persons that are part of this summit, the Moving Beyond Summit. And I'm really happy to be in our fourth and last webinar of the summit. I hope you will have a great time and great evening. And I can't wait to start the whole process. Thank you and enjoy it.
Welcome also from me. I'm Ognian Gadularov. Welcome from Bulgaria, where I am now. And I wish you meaningful and fruitful time with us tonight. And I hope that these 4 webinars will leave a trace and will give some ideas for your future. Thank you very much for being with us today.
Yes, and let me just share how already excited I am, because you all maybe already some of you already wrote in the chat, hello everyone, welcome everyone, and that made me really smile inside, because today's webinar is about the wisdom of the heart. So I can already see how you engage with this wisdom of the heart. But still, we are in this summit, which is called Moving Beyond, Becoming Fully Human in Times of Transformation. And we hope that today's webinar will add on the beautiful things that have been said on the previous 3 webinars, so that we can move beyond the small story we live and transform, become fully human. All right. Before I go into the content and everything, I just want to share a few guidelines, like instructions, how to use this webinar and what to expect and how it's going to be. First of all, this webinar is being recorded. So you have this in mind, that it is recorded. Second of all, we are in an online world, and it's possible that at some moment internet will give us some troubles. That's okay. Whatever happens, we're just going to flow with it, whether it comes from your side or from our side. Let's just trust that everything will be well, and go with the flow. I also want to tell you that I'm not a native English speaker. So you might hear errors or mistakes, and I hope that the theory that says that 93% of the communication is a non-verbal communication, I hope this works now, and that you understand and you get the message, although maybe some mistakes will happen. I see some of you smiling, which makes me even more happy. Fantastic. And here comes the first error, more happy instead of happier. See? I will be checking on you. I will be asking you to just see if you're following, if you're with us. So from time to time, if you have your camera on, you can nod, or you can make thumbs up or thumbs down, or just use also the thumbs up that if you have your camera off, you can still do it. And maybe a last thing, that today's webinar, as I've said, is about the wisdom of the heart. That means that there will be a lot of emotions, so they are nestled in our hearts, maybe less structure or less content. And at this moment, I want to share with you what my intentions are for this webinar. What do I intend to do? And I have two intentions. The first one is that my intention is to offer to you insights or inspiration or invitations, or hopefully all three of them, that can help you step into the bigger story we are living. And the second intention is for us to have a good time as well, to say that this time is well spent, that we are enjoying the time we spend together. So that's the intention, that's the guidelines, and a few things about me. So my name is Eleni Michail. I come from Cyprus. I live in Cyprus and I love Cyprus. And who am I really? I want to take you back in time. I want to take you back in time when I was a child. And my dream when I was a child was to become a magician. Because I wanted to bring rabbits out of the hats and pigeons out of the hats. So yeah, I was really fascinated by this magic, especially because I loved animals. I loved being around animals. But soon after, some trials, I realized that I cannot bring rabbits out of hats. So I was a little bit disappointed. Then came another, this is by the way, maybe you hear, this is the ice cream man going through in the neighborhood. Yeah, but we take it as it is, yeah? So yeah, another disappointment that I had is that actually magicians don't do magic, they have tricks, the things are there, the animals are there, so they're not really creating the magic. However, after working with people a lot of time, I realized that magic is hidden in a different place. That actually each one of us holds a magic stick, and with this magic stick we hold, we can make magic and transform ourselves. And then I fell in love with this magic, this particular magic, to witness people being transformed, to witness people being in contact with their self, their true self, their deep self, with their inner wisdom, with their inner voice, and see this change and transformation happen. And I dedicating my life personally and professionally to this kind of magic. So what I'm doing professionally is that I hold spaces in which people can actually access their own wisdom, their own essence, their own voice, inner voice, soul, and then bring this in the surface and share it with the world and see their inner beauty. I think the world is suffering a lot by ignoring our inner beauty. Also outer beauty, but especially the inner beauty. So this is what I do. This is what I'm dreaming of doing, and this is done through experiential learning, holding circles, workshops, meetings, using elements of psychology, like today, positive psychology, and a lot of arts and self-reflection. So today, although we are going to be in a webinar, the intention is to make it also more interactive than just me speaking and you. Are you with me on this one? Can you give me a sign? Yeah, great, okay. So let's begin. I'm going to share my screen. Yes, and it's going here. Yes, and I'm going to do this, and hopefully it will work. Tack. So can you see the screen? Yes, all right. So today's webinar is about remembering the wisdom of the heart. exploring positive psychology. And I want to spend a couple of minutes talking about remembering, wisdom, and heart. You see, when we speak about heart, that's one of the 4 human dimensions, and that's a concept that is hidden in nature and in many traditions, and yes, even religions. And there are 4 dimensions, and I guess you can see me also a little bit. There are 4 dimensions of human, and the first is the heart, so the emotions. The second is the body, the physical dimension. The third is the mind, the mental dimension. And the fourth is the spirit, also soul and spiritual dimension. And all these 4 dimensions we hold inside of us. And today we are focusing on the heart, not because it's better than the other ones or more important. All of them are important. I just think that the heart is the crossing point of all these 4 dimensions. And we are going to speak a little bit about it later on. Now I want to go back to the word wisdom. Wisdom is not knowledge, it's something deeper than knowledge. It's something about understanding deeply patterns, being able to see the big picture. And wisdom is not learned, but it's by books or by webinars, but it is accumulated through all our experience and very close reflection, self-reflection, and observations of our body, heart, mind, and spirit. And a lot of wisdom is also hidden in nature, and that's why I chose this picture here. That's kind of a wisdom. And a lot of wisdom is also shared in the old stories, in the songs, in ancient things, ceremonies, rituals. And that's the wisdom of the heart, what is there in our heart when we deeply listen to it. And then the word remembering, because we remember, it means that we are members of this wisdom of the heart, and now we just need to become member of it again, because maybe along the way we lost a little bit the wisdom of the heart. And today what we're doing is to remember, rejoining the wisdom of the heart. Yeah, are you with it? Are you with me still? Yes, great, because I want you with me 100%. And I suggest to access this wisdom of the heart very practically as the first thing. And what I'm asking you to do is to lift your right hand and then place it here on your chest, under your chest, right under it's the heart. And with a cleansing breath, that means that we breathe in through the nose and we exhale through the mouth. We are closing our eyes and just being there with our heart under our hand landed on our heart. And I invite you to bring your attention to your palm that is on your heart right now. And to feel your heart and listen to your heart. Follow the rhythm, the heartbeat. And if you cannot hear it or you cannot feel it, just imagine it. And imagine this great organ that keeps us alive, beating without us actually knowing that it's there. giving life to all our cells, all our bones, all our existence, giving us opportunities with every heartbeat, opportunities to grow, to become more authentic, to become more kind, more loving, more gorgeous, more soulful. And now imagine that under your hand, this heart is not only sending blood all over the body, but it is also sending vibrations. They are called electromagnetic waves in science. And these are love vibrations. So imagine that along with the blood that is flowing all over our bodies, love is being carried. Carried to all the cells, touching every corner, every bone, every muscle, every tissue, every neuron, every organ, filling us in with love. And just listen now, listen to this love that is floating. What is it telling you? What are her wise words? And once you have heard the words, you may allow your hand to rest back again on your knee. And take again this cleansing breath, breathing in through the nose, breathing out through the mouth with a sigh. Make a sound. And do it one more time if you wish. And slowly open your eyes and come back to here and now. Thank you. Thank you for embarking with me on this journey. Thank you for choosing to access the wisdom of the heart. And let's move on. Let's move on and see what we've got here today. All right. So the world we live in. And I wrote down a few questions about the world we live in. What are the news feeding us every day? Nowadays, but also in general. What are the news feeding us? And my understanding is that when you turn on the TV or you listen to the news, then you hear a lot about painful things. A lot of maybe deaths or injustice or wars or corruption. And at the same time, how much of the reality do we really know? What part of the reality are the news telling us? Because my guessing is that we just know a little bit, only a piece of the truth. And a lot of things are hidden from us. We don't know what is happening in other parts of the world or even our own place. We have forced slower rhythm, but how is the rhythm? What is the rhythm of our life? And I would think that we are living in a very fast-paced world, a world in which we need to go through tasks fast, effectively. We need to deliver and deliver more. We need to, we need to produce and make sure we make everything before the deadline. such an irony, this word deadline, to make everything before the deadline. Because after deadline, there is death, no? After the line, there is death. Well, there is not. Actually, maybe after the deadline, there is life. But we are going to see about it in a while. And then the fourth question, what dimensions is the modern world pushing us to use more? Is it the physical or the emotional or the mental or the spiritual? And in my understanding, I would say that there is a heavy, heavy demand on the mental dimension. Such a heavy demand that maybe the other dimensions are pushed aside. And just to give you this, do we really understand how many images are imprinted in our mind just by scrolling on social media? And how many information our brain, our mind has to process in order to find peace among everything. So yeah, that's a little bit of the world we live in. And moving on with this, I would say that there is a humanitarian crisis. And you see that I have here two columns. And the first one, on one hand, I see people striving for basic needs. A part of the population is striving for the basic needs. People living in poverty, people dying out of hunger, people pushed and forced to leave their homes and their places because their basic needs are not covered, because it's not safe, because they don't have a home, or because catastrophes have happened, and wars and human trafficking. That's something we don't speak so much, but it is there. And it's unbelievable how much money, that's the modern slavery, how much money human trafficking business is making. I read once that it's more profitable than selling guns or drugs, human trafficking. And at the same time, on some other hand or some other places, we have people striving for wellness because their basic needs are covered, but then we have consumerism and we have obesity, and what an irony that people who are obese are more than the people who are starving. And we have hatred and injustice and a lot of inner wars, a lot of stress, a lot of depression, a lot of loneliness. So there are two extremes, and a little bit of irony to have them side by side. And then I have a question, how the ecological and the humanitarian crises are connected. Because in the previous webinars, we spoke about ecological or environmental crises and how the climate is changing and how the species are being lost and how the resources are undermined. And I see a great connection between both of them. On one hand, we have environmental changes, climate changing, and people being forced to immigrate because their home, because it is flooded and they have no more, the land is destroyed and they need to move. At the same time, these immigrants are not necessarily accepted. There is hatred and injustice. But at the same time, how consumerism is pushing some people to stay in poverty because we are consuming and they are the ones who are going to produce it. At the same time, some kind of isolation from the place we belong, which is the nature, is giving us a lot of stress, a lot of despair, a lot of disconnection with our natural habitat. So this is how I see ecological and humanitarian crisis being connected. Are you with me? Do you see this connection? Mm-hmm. Yeah, all right. And here, I will pause a little bit and I will stop sharing because I want to tell you a story. Now you can see me, right? Yeah, yes, all right. Because I want to tell you a story. This is a story of a Greek mythology. Maybe you know about goddess Demeter. She is the goddess of earth and of home, our home earth, earth and agriculture. And it is said that goddess Demeter had a holy grove, that's a forest, an enchanted forest with trees. And in the middle of this forest was one sacred tree, which was her tree. And around it, priestesses were gathering to protect it and to honor it and make rituals for this goddess of agriculture and of the earth. It is also said that one man called, and as I said, maybe I'm not pronouncing it very well, his name was Erisketon. So this man was greedy, and he wanted to cut all the trees of this sacred forest of the goddess and build there his palace. So he started cutting and cutting all the trees until he went in the middle, the sacred tree. And there, the priestesses and goddess herself tried to warn him not to harm this particular tree, this sacred tree of earth. But he did not listen. He disregarded her warnings, so he did cut the sacred tree. And then goddess Demeter cursed him for an eternal hunger, And then this guy, he was so hungry that he went home and he started eating all the food that he had stored at home. And when the food was over, he started eating the animals he had. And when he ate all the sheep and cows, then he went out stealing from other people's food. And his hunger was unstoppable. And he was so hungry that he even sold his daughter for food. And he was so hungry still that he ate himself and died. He even ate himself and died. And why am I telling you this myth now? Why am I telling you the story of the Greek mythology? Because I see that somehow we, and when I say we, I'm not talking about us necessarily, the 50 people who are here and the others who are listening, but we, a part of this earth population, has become greedy, and we are unstoppably hungry, and we're just eating one after the other because we think that this is the way to get happiness. This is the way to access the heart. This is the way to be fulfilled. And by doing this mindlessly, we end up eating sacred things like the holy tree, or like our families, because we prioritize other things instead of our families or our connections. And we end up eating earth herself. One way or another, we can see how big factories of the things we buy are harming the earth. making the water poisonous, but or the air. Sooner or later, this air will get to us. We want to push it away to other continents, but yeah, making people suffer there, push them in poverty, but still we live in the same place. And this is how maybe we're eating up ourselves. And I'm not saying this to worry you, but maybe to offer this story in a way that you can take whatever is good for you, whatever is calling you right now. And also to offer hope through these webinars in order to become fully human. Move on? Yes? All right. Let's go back to this presentation. Which is here? Oh, actually here. All right. It's not moving. Why it's not moving? Wait a second, I will just do it one more time. Thank you for your patience. And thank you for your patience. All right. Yes, okay. So we are all born to be happy. We're all born to be happy. This is our natural state of how we are meant to be. The trouble is that there are some misconceptions about happiness, and we already spoke about some of them. And another one is happiness equals with joy or being uplifted eternally the whole time, feeling woohoo the whole time. But happiness is not the same as joy. Joy is a short feeling, very raw, it comes and goes very quickly. But happiness is being grounded. Happiness is what is the summary of all that we live in. If we're looking only for joy, then we might end up not being very happy. Another misconception is that happiness comes after working hard or earning a lot of money. So I will be happy if I work harder, then I will be happy. Or if I get more money, if I get richer, then I can be happy. But that's another misconception, because what we do is we push our happiness later on, because actually there is no deadline for money or how much work we need to do. And we get excited, we finish one thing, we want to do another thing. So yeah, happiness does not come after working hard or earning a lot of money. Another misconception is that happiness is about showing that we are better than the others. If my neighbor has a car, I want to buy a better car, a faster car. If the others are wearing this clothes, I want to wear this clothes, which is better, more fashionable, more glamorous. In that way, I can be better than the others, or more degrees than the others. But still, happiness is not laying there. Sometimes we think that happiness is when we achieve a certain thing. So let's say, I will finish university, then I will be happy. I will get married, then I will be happy. I will have children, then I will be happy. Or my children will get married, then I will be happy. And this is obviously an endless way of pushing again happiness later on and later on, and out of ourselves. Another misconception is that happiness is a feeling, and I'm putting it also here to create some confusion inside of us, because happiness is a summary of all our existence, all our feelings, all our experience, and what is left in the end of the day. What is left in the end of the day? What is left in the end of our life? And maybe one more misconception is that happiness is anywhere else except in us. Happiness is everywhere else, but not in us. It's in the food we're going to eat, or in the degree we're going to do, or in the other people, but it's not inside. But actually, happiness is inside. It's very much inside. Let me see what I have after this. I have a little exercise for you. Yeah, a little exercise to see how happiness is actually inside. And I want to invite you here to make a pause and think of the last 24 hours. Think of the last 24 hours and go through these 24 hours and write down in your journal, what are the 3 things you are grateful for? What are the three things you are grateful for? And just take this 1 minute and write these 3 things you're grateful for. Once you finish the 3 things you're grateful for, what if you write 1 or 2 more? And just push it a little bit more. What are you grateful for the last 24 hours? That's the bell ringing to invite us to come back here. I would be very curious to hear what you wrote in this list of things you're grateful for. Happiness is inside of us because we have the capacity to see things that we don't see with our everyday life, with our everyday's eyes, with this fast rhythm of running and doing and delivering and going through life. But when we pause for a second and we think, what am I grateful for? Then I might end up saying, I'm grateful for my life, for my heart beating, for having a home, a safe place, for having food to eat. And then we start thinking, I am actually happy because I have so many things, outer resources and inner resources. And at this moment, deepening more on how happiness is actually inside of us, I want to read a story to you. I want to read a story to you. Are you listening to me? Is it okay? Yeah, okay, good. So I'll just stop sharing to see your faces one more time. And I want to read another story about how the creator of the world wanted to hide something from human. And here comes the story. Once upon a time, there was a creator. And he said, I want to hide something from humans until they are ready for it. It is the realization that they can create their own life. But I want to hide it until they are ready. Where should I hide it? The eagle said, well, give it to me. I will take it to the moon and hide it there. And Creator said, no. One day, human will go on the moon and they will find it there. And then the salmon said, "Give it to me. I will bury it in the bottom of the ocean." But the Creator said, no, because one day human will also dive into the ocean and find it there. And buffalo said, "Well, give it to me. I will bury it in the great plains under the earth." And the Creator said, "Oh, one day they will cut the skin of the earth and they're even going to find it there." And then the grandmother who has no sight, has vision from her heart, she sees with her spiritual eyes, said, "Well, what if you hide it inside themselves?" And the Creator hide it inside themselves, inside the human. And everything we look for, or most of the things we look for, apart from the basic needs, are inside of us, but we neglect to see them. And how ironic it is that they are so close, but we look anywhere else to find it. So let's see how can we unearth from our bodies and our hearts this wisdom, this happiness, authentic happiness, realization of our lives, become who we are meant to be. Okay, going back to this one that I guess you can see. I hope you can see. Okay, all right. And that brings us to positive psychology. What is positive psychology? It is the study of the conditions and processes that contribute to the flourishing of optimal functioning of people, groups, and institutions. In other words, positive psychology is aiming to see what makes us truly happy and what makes us flourish, not just be well, not just be neutral, take away the diseases, take away the painful parts, take away the depression or take away the anxiety, but really what makes us flourish and thrive and fulfilled. And positive psychology is a new field of psychology that derived 20 years ago, especially after World War II, because after that, since that definitely the psychology was focusing more on fixing the problems, and now we're not just want to fix the problem or solve the problem, but how can we make people thrive? So that's the shift. And the father of positive psychology, he's called Martin Seligman. In the beginning of his career in positive psychology, he introduced this model, 3 types of happiness. And you see that there's a little bit of chart. We have happiness on one axis and time on the other axis, and then we have 3 types. And there are types. It doesn't mean it's not levels, but there are different tastes. So in the first one, we have pleasure. First type is pleasure. And that's ourselves being the rock star and chasing the next high. What does it actually mean? It means that when we are looking for happiness as a pleasure, we're looking for something that is going to please us, which is going to make us feel uplifted, as I said before, this misconception. And this is maybe in this type of happiness, we have things like eating ice cream, since we heard the ice cream man a little bit earlier. So yeah, I want an ice cream, it gives me pleasure. I want a chocolate, it gives me pleasure. I want alcohol, it does give me pleasure. I want drugs, or I want a faster car, or a fancier makeup, or whatever falls into this pleasure category. And you see that the time we enjoy it is short, and the level of happiness is also little. That's because after we eat one chocolate, the effect is already gone. We're looking for another chocolate to sustain the pleasure. And that's how we end up with consumerism and greediness, because we are never satisfied. It's endless if we are trapped in this pleasure type of happiness. Moving on, we have the passion. Passion is about flow and engagement. That's the second type of happiness. And there, when we find ourselves in passion, in flow and engagement, time flies. So these are the activities we do, and time stops. It flies. It's like very quickly it goes, it passes by. And maybe for you, it is when you are learning, if you feel time is passing now, or when you're teaching, or when you are being with friends, or when you are singing or playing music, or being in nature, or writing, or serving and making coffee for other people. Passion. Longer time, more amount of happiness. And third type of happiness is higher purpose and meaning. And it's about being part of something bigger than ourselves. It is about, I would say that it's about using these passions that we spoke about before for something beyond ourselves. Maybe if I am a good listener and I'm passionate in listening and speaking, maybe my higher purpose is to listen to the ones who are not heard by someone else, or ask the questions that are going to deepen their life. Or maybe I want to offer something to the animals, or the nature, or the poetry, or the soul, or the spirit. So we offer something beyond, to someone beyond ourselves, a being or spirit beyond ourselves. That's a higher meaning. And you see how this type of happiness is taking more time, is lasting for more time, and also is giving us higher levels of happiness. At the same time, what Seligman discovered is that actually these the combination of the three is even better. So we do need to find our passions and engage into them and be in flow. It's great to offer them to something beyond ourselves and find meaning, but at the same time, it is necessary to take care of ourselves, to eat a nice meal, to have a beer from time to time, and enjoy the pleasures, but pleasures not being the ultimate happiness. So the combinations of the three. And there is a little bit of a star under. You might see that this model is applicable for human whose basic needs are covered. So we're not expecting anyone who is in war or in violence or in an unsafe place, who is hungry, who is poor, to go through this. So once basic needs are covered, then we can speak about happiness. And I want to say basic needs, I mean basic needs. It doesn't mean that we eat sushi every day, but we have something to eat. We have somewhere to, a shelter over our head, basic safety, and so on. Moving on. There is then a more upgraded version of what makes us happy, and here is a new model which is called PERMA, and it's about positive emotions, engagement, relationships, positive relationships, of course, meaning, accomplishment, and achievement. And because I believe that knowledge and information are already on the websites, I will focus more on, maybe bringing a bit more inspiration. So here we go. Positive emotions. As we said, positive emotions are not so present maybe in our life, or if you listen to the news there, definitely you don't get a lot of positive emotions. These are the top 10 positive emotions we experience, and you can just go through them: joy, gratitude, serenity, interest, hope, pride, amusement, inspiration, awe, and of course, love. It is said that love is the one we experience mostly, and awe is the one that we experience less. This is what research is telling us. And the research about positive emotions, it is called Borodin and Bill theory by Barbara Fredrickson. And what this theory suggests is that positive emotions widen the array of thoughts, broaden and increase our resources, thoughts, and actions. And specifically, positive emotions can support the development of competences, networks, and capacities, which in result facilitate well-being and fulfillment. What do we mean by this? By engaging in positive emotions, we actually broaden our resources, our inner and outer resources. Now imagine if you express gratitude to someone, or someone expresses gratitude to you. Expressing gratitude is a way, this feeling of gratitude is a way of strengthening our bonds with this person. And therefore, we build relationships, and that's an outer resource. Or let's say, for example, inspiration. By being inspired, bringing inspiration into our lives, we are engaging this force. We are awakening this inner force to do more things, to have this motivation to embark on new things that we always wanted to do. And that's just a few examples of how positive emotions broaden and build our capacities, so that when we are in a difficult situation, we can actually stand on our feet and have resiliency. Another important thing here is to know that there are no negative emotions. Positive psychology names the emotions, positive emotions, but the other part is not negative, but actually they call them painful emotions, because they are maybe unpleasant, the ones we don't want to, we don't enjoy so much being there. But painful emotions are crucial for our growth, because they are actually the ones which are forcing us to change, to make transformation. And remember yesterday, I see you nodding, and I'm grateful for that. I remember yesterday when we spoke about leaving home and going in stage 4, in the leaving the tribe, leaving the place we have built, and going in our soul. That's not a pleasant moment. That's a very unpleasant or dark moment. But there we get great treasures. We get great treasures and life transformation from painful emotions, because each emotion is coming there with a message. The emotions are coming to us with a message to tell us, well, this is what you need to do. And that's the wisdom of the heart. That's the wisdom of the heart, that each emotion is here to tell us something. So a question now, being in the realm of positive psychology, is how can I add more positive emotions in my life? Having this, how can I add more positive emotions in my life? We are moving on. So the second part of PERMA model is engagement. And we spoke a little bit before about engagement in the second type of happiness. And that's the part of us being lost in an activity. And I chose to put the dancer here, because I want to believe that no dancer is dancing because of money or because of a successful career, but because they are really being one with the music. Time is stopping, and they lose themselves in this absorbing activity, which is also called flow. And we are all having things that are making us feel flow and being engaged. And here comes the question: what are your unique gifts that bring you in a state of engagement and flow? What is bringing you in flow? And that's a gift. That's a gift, to be able to be in flow. Yeah, this activity, this passion, this charisma is a gift, and it's something for you to experience more for us, but it's also something that we can offer to others. It's good to dance alone, but it's also good to dance for the others in order to awaken their awaken some things hidden inside of them. So that's the second one, engagement. And moving on, relationships. So we human are social beings. We are born to be in tribes. We are born to be in communities. And sometimes it is good to spend a little bit of time alone. In English, there is a great word which surprisingly I forget. Solitude is the word. Sometimes we need to be in solitude to make this inner reflection. But that's one part of our life, a small, very small part, or a small part of the day. But solitude is different than loneliness, because loneliness hurts. Because we are born to be in relationships, and actually we're looking for relationships in which we are loved and we are supported and acknowledged and respected and valued and heard and seen and all these beautiful things. This is actually a relationship. It's not just surviving, but it's about deeply being held wholeheartedly. If we recall moments during which we felt excluded or rejected, we can better understand the emotional pain that is associated with the lack of meaningful relationships with peers or the community. Scientists also say that this isolation, this loneliness, triggers the exact same neurons as the physical pain. So the same way we are physically hurt, the same way we are hurt when we are lonely, not when we are in solitude, because that's our decision, but when we are left alone, left aside. And the question is, how can I deepen my relationships? How can I deepen? How can I love more? How can I support others? How can I respect more? How can I value more? How can I listen deeper? How can I speak from the heart? That's a question for you to take in. We are answering all the questions later on through some practices. I speak too much. Are you with me? Is it? I hope it's not boring. No. Okay. Whew. Because it's good to hear you from time to time, just to see you. So next, moving on, we have meaning. Meaning is about having a sense. To have a sense of meaning means we need to feel that what we do is valuable and worthwhile. This involves belonging to and or serving something that we believe is greater than ourselves, as we said earlier. Meaning is what keeps us alive. There's a lot of research on that. If we have meaning in our life, if our life is meaningful, if what we do is worthwhile, valuable to someone, then that gives us a reason to stay in life. In other cases, people who are committing suicide or considering to commit suicide, that's because they miss meaning, or also they just surrender to life, and life is they give up, whether it's committing suicide or just allowing death to come. So meaning is what pushes us forward. And remember, it's about doing something for something beyond ourselves, another person, another being, the whole earth. What is giving you meaning? That's a question to think. What is actually giving me meaning? When? What activities or what parts of the day are meaningful to me? And moving on, accomplishment, that's the last part of the PERMA model. This element offers a sense of fulfillment as we reach our goals and become better throughout time and achieve mastery. So yeah, we have all the others, but from time to time, it's good to acknowledge what we have accomplished in life, that we are evolving, that we are becoming better, and that we do want to become even more better, even more rich in the wisdom, not rich in the sense of money. So the question is, how do I become better? How do I become better? Or how have I become better since last year or 2 years or 20 years ago? And another concept that I want to talk about is mindfulness. And mindfulness is the skill of living in the present moment. And it's, again, is something that maybe is very neglected nowadays, also because we are far away from nature. We spend a lot of time thinking about the past or thinking about the future, being trapped in a small story and forgetting to see the big picture of life or earth. So here is how mindfulness can look like. And the question is, do you want to be mindful or mindful? Scientists say that we spend 47% of our time awake, mind wandering. That's the photo with the complicated thoughts in the little cloud. Mind wandering, this is when our thoughts, when our mind is wandering, is moving around different things. Our body is always in the present moment. You know, when we want to go to toilet, we want to go to toilet, or when we're hungry, we know we're hungry. Our body is always here, but our mind is wandering. And almost, if you think that we are mind wandering almost 50% of the time, that means that half of our life we are not really living the here and now. We're not living really this life. And what are we? Yeah, so going back to the mindfulness, what are these 3 dimensions of mindfulness and how can we engage in them? So they are 3 and they are integral. So we want all 3 of them. The first one is about observing what happens inside of us. So our body sensations, our senses, what we smell, what we see, what we hear, our feelings, what is in our heart right now, our thoughts, to keep track of our thoughts. And I would go also a bit beyond that, like observing what happens inside of us means also answering some questions like, who am I? What are my values? What are my competences? What are my gifts? Why am I here? The second dimension is observing what happens around us. So what and who surrounds us and where we are. So now I'm in this room, in this webinar, in this city, with these people around, an ice cream man going around the neighborhood. But also, to see how are the others today. Are they angry? Are they joyful? How do they respond to me? But also deepening a little bit this observation of what happens around us. What happens in the world beyond this room, beyond this city, beyond this country, or beyond this continent? What is actually happening in Africa right now, or in Asia right now, or in America right now, or maybe we have people from all these continents and I don't know. I welcome you too. But what is happening in Antarctica now that the ice are melting, or Arctic? And the third dimension is not judging what happens inside or outside, engaging in a non-judgmental behavior, accepting what is happening. And we accept because we cannot change what has already happened, because this present moment, the moment we live now, is a result of what has happened before. It's not a result of now. So we need to accept it and also take the responsibility. So it goes hand by hand. We don't accept in the sense of surrender, and that's the reality. This is the world now, starvation and wars and climate change, and there's nothing I can do, I surrender. But rather than taking responsibility of what I can do, or how can I see the world, or what is my contribution right here, right now. A lot of times it's also about the perspective we look at things. Some other times it's more about engaging in other activities. Are you with me still? Yeah, all right. Just a little bit more. Why being mindful? Why being mindful? Well, the treasures that are hidden inside of us from the Creator are in the here and now. We cannot find them in the past, and we cannot find them in the future. We cannot find them anywhere else a part of us. So being mindful is a way of being happy with our life, is a way of recognizing, acknowledging ourselves, is a way of taking responsibility. It's a way of taking opportunities and really fully living. That's why mindfulness is important. And we need mindfulness to push this great turning that we spoke about on the first webinar. We are born to be happy. We are born to be mindful, sorry. So we can reclaim it. Children are always mindful. They're always in the present moment. So this is a skill we are born with. We lose it over time, but we can engage again with it. And very shortly, another thing that I want to tackle is the character strengths. That's also another element of positive psychology, character strengths and virtues. This concept is mostly developed for the educational system, how to bring positive education. But I find it very meaningful in just having these character strengths throughout life. And here they are, clustered in these categories. And I give you a little bit of silence to just look at them. In the meantime, I will drink a little bit of water. So wisdom and knowledge, humanity, justice, temperance, transcendence, and courage. And my guessing is that when we work with these character strengths that we all possess, then we will not have these things, this humanitarian crisis we spoke about in the beginning. When we have kindness, when we have honesty, when we have humility, when we have perspective, when we have fairness and teamwork and forgiveness and humor in life, I think there's a lot of healing coming up. And now I'm just moving to some practices of how can we actually put the character strengths and the perma and mindfulness in practice. And here's what we can do more practically. So expressing gratitude to others, saying thank you, writing thank you letters to others, meditating, praying, or being in stillness, or just breathing, it also works. Journaling on things we are grateful for, like we did today earlier, doing acts of kindness. And I would add, doing acts of kindness secretly. So to strangers, offer them something, a kind gesture that they don't know and they don't expect. Writing a letter of self-compassion to ourselves. Say, wow, I understand. I feel your painful emotions. I know the situation you are in. Yeah, offering this self-compassion to ourselves. Acknowledging the resources we are having also. You can do it. You have accomplished so much already. You have this and that inner resource. Spending time in nature, as well as spending time with humans in meaningful encounters. Enlarging our comfort zone, doing something new, something we always wanted, but we haven't tried. Starting with small steps and enlarging our comfort zone. Investing time in that thing that puts us in flow, whether it is singing or whether it is cooking or whether it is planting or whether it is reading. Just spend more time with that thing. Engaging in arts. And I know that we have a lot of inner critics about arts, but we are born to sing, we are born to dance, we are born to draw, we are born to act. We are born for all these things. And I would say as a last, it's not a practice, but every time we have a decision to choose the authentic happiness, what makes us truly, deeply happy. And I say that remembering the wisdom of the heart will heal the human and the earth. And that's where this presentation is over, and I'm looking forward to see your faces and hear your questions. Oh, it took a lot of time. Good, we didn't lose too many people on the way. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much, Eleni, for your beautiful presentations, for the really inspiring and touching stories and the exercises that you offer to us to really experience in this very moment some positive emotions and to experience happiness. I have gathered a couple of questions, and in this moment, I'm also inviting the others who have questions. Please write them in the chat, because we will have a couple of minutes to do this. And I want to ask you, Eleni, a question that came. If you could tell us one more time what is positive psychology in your own words. So, yeah, one more time.
So I would say that positive psychology is a science field which actually proves what we already know. All the ancient traditions, all the ancient tribes, even our grandmothers and fathers and mothers and our children know that we need to be kind, we need to be happy, we need to be grateful. What positive psychology does is just to back up everything with data and research and say, yes, when you say I'm grateful for tralala, 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 then this is the amount of which we expand our happiness. So this is another definition that I just gave you. Well, the old definition would be, it's the science of positive emotions and what makes us truly happy as human beings and truly flourish and thrive. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Eleni. I just want to mention one more thing, that it's three of us who are in a way supporting this process. So also Ognian, if you feel like adding at one point something, including myself, yeah, it's good reminder. So I don't know, Ogi, if you want to say something. Okay. Then there is one more question that came from the chat, and then I have a question for you, Eleni. This came to my mind. So someone said that I love this model. I see a deep complexity in it. The first thing that came to my mind was, is it somehow connected with the permaculture concept? The permaculture concept.
That's a great question. I want to admit that I am not. I'm not very familiar. I mean, I know what it is, but I haven't delved into permaculture. But the way I know permaculture is to use the ecosystem in order for what you want to do to thrive. And I would see that this applies also in this perma model, that we're using the ecosystem, we're using our resources that are other human and ourselves in order for us to thrive. Looking at it from this perspective, I would say that this is the similarity that I find. At the same time, I'm just underlining that I haven't delved into that yet. Or maybe Ogi or Bogdan, maybe you know more about this.
Well, what I can say is that I'm working with human permaculture and not so much with ecological and land and plants permaculture. But I believe that permaculture is based on universal principles on how to live in harmony with the earth, with nature, with our inner nature. So I believe that in a way, what we have presented in all these webinars is in a way, or are in a way, universal principles and values. Yeah. Okay. Good. I see that Ogi is not jumping in, so I assume that I can move on with another question. Someone asked, can you recommend us a book that deepens our knowledge on positive psychology?
Yes and no. We are going to give to you a set of resources after this, and in these resources we can include some books which you can delve into and read more about happiness and about, yeah, a lot of things are actually more accessible through articles, and if you are interested about the concept, you are going to find easily a lot of things about them on the websites, on just the internet. More books we are going to write you in the email that is going to follow up later.
All right, so I see more and more questions coming. And the next one can be, what can a person who is observing a negative thought do in that moment? So when a negative thought is coming, what a person can do in that moment?
Self-compassion. I would say self-compassion, because we are going to have negative thoughts. I mean, let's not underestimate our mind. Our mind is here to help us go through dangers, and we are going to think about the dangers, and we need to think about them in order to survive. No, that's evolution. Progress is being there and seeing where do these thoughts come from. What are these thoughts telling me? Where are they pushing me to go? Is it feeding my soul, or is it staying in the small story I am? Yeah, but being there, the first step is to treat ourselves as our best friends. If our best friend had a negative thought and was in big trouble, what would we do? The first thing is to listen and ask what is happening. And you can do it and have a dialogue with yourself, or write this dialogue with yourself. And then after you have done the listening, then you will find a way out and see how you can support yourself in that moment.
Okay, I will just take one more question. What are your thoughts about happiness being a consequence from a mindful and meaningful life and not the main goal in life?
Mm. Mm. Well, there's a lot of things to be said about happiness. One of which I didn't mention so far, but you're mentioning, and it's great, is that actually happiness should not be our primary goal, and anxiously looking for happiness. This is not how things should be. This actually makes us less happy. This is what it is said. And I might say why, and the answer is that, well, it's not possible to measure happiness. It's not possible to measure it, and then we don't know. We'll just keep looking and keep looking. When we shift our definition of mindfulness as meaning, offering, being in a state of flow and offering, then this measure would be, I want to be more in a state of flow and offer more of my state of flow to the others, and just grasp into that meaning and never leave it. So when we look at it from this perspective, then we are having happiness all along. And remember, happiness is not about being uplifted the whole time, but really embracing all the emotions that are coming and going through life, and saying, well, today I'm grateful because this happened. Today I had a bad day, and it's okay because I have hope for tomorrow. Today I'm taking the responsibility of the next day. So yeah, again, mindfulness is not necessarily an emotion, but it's a state of being. I hope I answered the question.
Yeah. I see that we are slowly approaching the end of the webinar, and I will take one more question from those in the chat, and then quickly I will ask my question. So the question from the chat is, how can we keep these practices that you spoke about, how can we keep them interesting for our mind?
How can we keep them interesting for our mind?
Interesting for our mind, yeah.
Well, doing one thing every day that is out of your comfort zone keeps our mind very interesting. That's for sure. It's good to engage the mind in whatever we do. But also remember that we have these 4 dimensions, that we need also to engage our body and our heart and our spirit and soul. So how can we do it? I don't know. You need to find the answer yourself. Give yourself new tasks. Today, can I be grateful of 3 things, and tomorrow about 4 things, and the day after about 5 things? Maybe this is a way if you want to give your mind this kind of treats. That's one way. But I would remind that we are also we need to engage all dimensions, and the heart and the body and the spirit.
All right, and my last question that is coming from my side is, it was not planned, so I hope you're okay with this. What is your favorite practice that you do to put you in a state in which you can experience happiness?
Hmm. Hmm. What I find myself very much loving and being in that state is when I'm listening to music, and especially when I am singing. I find this really tuning into something that is in a flow inside, and is giving me tuning into my happiness. That is definitely one practice, and the other one is just being outside in the nature. That's another beautiful thing. Oh my god, now I remember another thing. Oh, I can't choose, Bogdan, there's too many things that I'm doing. To really say I love you to people, and to love myself and say this to myself. And self-compassion, I have done it before this webinar. I told myself, Eleni, it's okay, it's a new thing, you're going to do it. I understand why you're scared. Ooh. Thank you for listening to that. Okay, so that was the last question, and maybe before many more questions, you can write us emails with questions later. I want to close this webinar with a poem, and then I will just give the word to my colleagues so to conclude this Moving Beyond Summit. If you feel like, you can close your eyes, let this poem speak to you. It goes like this. The title actually is Our Deepest Fear, and the poet is Marianne Williamson. And it goes like this. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It is not just in some of us, it is in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. So that is the poem. You are born to shine. And I just want to thank you so much for being here today, especially in this webinar, as well as for being maybe also in the previous webinars. It was lovely to be with you. And I just want to invite my colleagues, because now I'm a bit more emotional, so you guys can step in, and then I can just say a final thank you.
Thank you very much, Eleni. I would like to start first and to express my deep gratitude and yeah, my love and connection to everything that happened in this week, and I want to share how happy I am about these 4 webinars, these summits that we prepared and realized together, and I want to express how grateful I am to have such colleagues and such friends like you and Bogdan, and uh, to really to wish all of you, our audience today and previous days, to be able to work and share in such environment of people who are like-minded with you, and to share same values and same purpose in life. And I wish you all to shine and to live your biggest life in service to the earth and to the future generations. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ogi, for your words. And I can just repeat what Ogi said. It's a really great pleasure and honor. And in a way, I feel that I belong to a community that I see here in front of my screen. And it's so great to see you, even though, maybe some of you I never met, but I feel that we are friends in a way. And with those that I know, I feel that it strengthens our connection. So it's a great time. So thank you for being here. Friday evening, Saturday evening, you gave your time just to be here. And yeah, my last words are just to tell you that more things will come, and we will put these recordings online. And yeah, my invitation and our invitation is just to pay forward these webinars and these resources that we will send. And let's meet again, and let's continue this journey, the journey of making the world a better place. Thank you so much again, Ogi and Eleni. It was a great journey, and I hope to journey even more in the future together. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh my God, I also want to thank you. Something that too many emotions, gratitude, happiness, flow, awe, beauty, um, hope, because you're here. And thank you on behalf of Earth that you are here, on behalf of our ancestors, on behalf of our unborn children. It was really an honor to have you with us in this today or the other days. And with you, there is hope for this world. And yeah, I know my colleagues are, I'm always surprising them, but there is something that wants to be said, one more thing. So the ones who feel like staying a few more seconds, few more minutes, because I do these tricks, I wanted to become a magician, and I change things. Yeah, just I want to invite us for a song. And it's a song, a very old song, very old song, about calling on the wisdom of the elders. So we step into the shoes of the elders, ourselves elders, the wise part, the wisdom of the heart. And let's sing this song together 2-3 times. I will say it, and then you can just repeat after me. It goes like this. And don't think about, I don't have a good voice. We're not singing now to perform. We're singing for something beyond ourselves. And the song goes like this. Goes like this. Pura samene, pura samene, pura samene o, pura samene om. And what you can do is you can simply repeat after me. So I will say Buddha Samen, and you say Buddha Samen, so you don't mix up with the words, or just hum and just vibrate it the way you want. It's a praise to the ancestors and calling the elders to step into their shoes and become elders and take this responsibility and join the wisdom of the heart. If you want, you can close your eyes. If you want, you can keep it open. And it goes like this. Buddha Samene, Buddha Samene, Buddha Samene O, Buddha Samene O, Buddha Samene, Buddha Samene, Buddha Samene O, Buddha Samene O, Buddha Samene, Buddha Samene, Buddha Samene O, Buddha Samene O, Buddha Samene, Buddha Samene, Buddha Samene O, Buddha Samene O. So thank you so much, everyone.